guys, I'm April Plank, and today I'm going to be taking you through a reformer class that is prenatal friendly, meaning you could do this class at any stage of your pregnancy. But you do not necessarily have to be pregnant to enjoy the benefits that this class has to offer you. So I'm going to have you start with first a yoga block, and that's mainly as a pillow. So if you don't have a yoga block, you can put a pillow on the headrest for support when we lay on our side. And the second thing is we're just going to have all the springs off to start. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to slide my carriage out, put my feet into the well. I'm going to slide at the very front of my carriage, sit up nice and tall, rooting through all 10 toes of the feet and both heels. Sitting inhale, and then as I exhale, I'm going to tuck my tailbone, kind of let the carriage roll towards my foot bar, and then inhale as you sit right back up tall. Big exhale as you tuck and roll yourself back, and then inhale as you go back up. Just warming up through the pelvis, warming up through the spine, and just moving at a range of motion that feels good for you and a pace that feels good for you. Now, it has been for me about 10 years since I had my daughter, about 12 years since I had my son, but I did practice Pilates through the both entire pregnancies, and it was wonderful. I love Pilates, as you can tell. Really great benefits for prenatal, postnatal, all stages of life, really. Give me two more here, but with the prenatal, the main focus you'll see a lot of is this pelvic mobility, pelvic stability, and we'll be working on that. I said two more, but let's just do a few more. Tucking and then coming back up, and one more, tuck and scoop, and back up. Reach the arms right out to the sides, lengthen the entire side, pull the abs in, pull the ribs in. Exhale as you rotate to the right, 2 little pulses, and inhale back to the center. And then to the left. Good. So what makes this class prenatal friendly is we will not be laying on our back. So when you get to about 20 weeks in your pregnancy, you definitely do not want to be laying on your back. Just puts a little bit too much pressure and kind of cuts off the blood supply. So you will feel a little nauseated, lightheaded. So you'll be able to tell if it's not good for you to lay on your back anymore. But usually the recommendation is after 20 weeks, no more laying down. So we won't be doing any of that here today. We'll be laying on our side for any of the leg work. Arms and strap and feet and strap. Do one more to each side. One more to the left. Take an inhale to the center. Let your right arm go down, your left arm go up. Take a big breath, try to lengthen that entire side. And as you exhale, your right arm just goes down towards the floor as you lean towards your right. And then you inhale, come back up, and we'll switch sides. So the right arm comes up. Left arm comes down. Big exhale is just laterally flex the spine. Inhale back up. Let's do 2 more to each side, leaning towards the right. Nice easy release of the left side. And then inhale, sitting tall. Big lean to the left, releasing the right side. And sit up tall. One more to each side, leaning towards the right. And sitting back up. And last one to the left. And sitting back up. Good. Take the arms all the way down. Very carefully bring your feet out of the well. Bring the carriage home, and let's pop on a blue spring. So blue for me is a medium, so I have 1 blue spring. I'm going to sit up facing the tower. Now I have about a hand's distance between my bottom and the springs. I have my legs out long. For me, my legs don't fit unless I cross them, so I have my feet crossed. Reach forward and grab the straps, and I want you to really choke up on the straps. So you might even want to reach for the tape, or you might want to just reach for the very edge of the strap. And I'm going to sit really tall. Shoulders are down, abs are in, ribs are drawing down. High elbow row to start. So I'm going to pull my elbows out to the side and then release them forward. So I would say in all stages of life, working the back of the body is extremely important. Specifically during pregnancy, because we have so much weight in front of us that we're starting to hunch forward a little bit, and that weight kind of pulls us down. So we want to really work on keeping the chest lifted, keeping the shoulders back, and working on our posture. And then once your baby comes, you'll be spending a lot of time holding a baby, and you're going to need some strong arms to do that. I definitely can attest to having a 9-pound, 4-ounce baby, holding that baby around all day and night. It was a lot of work. He didn't want to be sat down at all. Last two. Do one more. And now we're going to alternate right and left. So your right arm's going to pull, and you're going to do just a little rotation towards that right arm. And then your left arm will pull, and you'll do just a little rotation to that side. So working the back of the body, but adding a little rotation through the waist. So we want to keep moving and keep flexibility there. Good. Exhale as you rotate. And inhale, center. Good. You're sitting up tall. And if this isn't feeling comfortable for you, you may want to cross your legs and just sit crisscross applesauce if that feels better. Kind of play around with your sitting position. A lot of different options could work for you. Do one more to each side. Good. Come back to the center. Cross your straps. Glue your elbows right into your waist. We're going to keep those elbows glued right into the side as we externally rotate the arms. So this is working the shoulder cuff muscles, all of those muscles that help the shoulder rotate. So we're opening and closing. So you're keeping your elbows glued right to your waist as you let your forearms open out and close back in. Now right now I'm focusing on my ribs staying connected, my spine being still and stable. In a moment we'll add a little bit of extension. Using your breath. Now I do talk about pelvic floor in some of my videos, but very specifically in my prenatal, it's very important to work on strengthening the pelvic floor. Do one more. And let's uncross the straps and we'll go into that extension I talked about. So we'll do back to our high elbow row, and then you're going to extend the spine, look up, knit the ribs back in, and release the arms. So every time you're exhaling, I want you to think of lifting up through the pelvis, tightening through that muscle, and every time you inhale, you're releasing. Because not only do we have to learn how to tighten the pelvic floor, but especially during labor, you will need to learn how to release the pelvic floor. So you're lifting and tightening, and you're releasing. So those muscles are just like any other muscle in our body. We've got to learn to train those muscles to prepare them for the work they're going to be doing. Good. So we're adding just a little extension, just a little heart opening. And we'll do that 2 more times. And 1 more. Good. And then go ahead and release the straps back down. So now you will need your block. So let's put the block on the headrest. We're going to change the weight to 2 red springs. So those are 2 heavy springs on my balanced body machine. And I'm taking my blue off. We're going to lay on our left ear first. So I've got my left side laying on, ear on the block. I've got my shoulder stacked, hips stacked. My top leg is going to go on the foot bar. And my bottom leg, if you're feeling maybe a little bit farther along, you want to keep this leg bent. It might feel better for you. If you can, straighten that leg out. That's going to be a little bit more advanced. We're going to inhale as you push the carriage out, and exhale as you pull the carriage back in. Inhale, press, and exhale, pull back in. Nice and slow and steady. Now, one thing that you might notice during your pregnancy is a kind of a lacticity, or your muscles becoming more flexible, and that's just as you have certain hormones that start running through the body that are preparing your muscles to be able to relax. So what you want to make sure you're not doing is overstretching. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm way more flexible, I'm going to try to push farther into a stretch, then you may not want to do that. You might want to just kind of work out of the range of motion that feels good. Try not to overstretch or press yourself past a range of motion that might feel good because you don't want to pull anything. But you might feel, wow, a lot more flexible during this time. Now come halfway in and do little pulses, 1 inch in, 1 inch out. Again, every exhale, I'm kind of tightening through the pelvic floor and releasing, tightening and releasing. Do one more, and then go all the way out. Now lift your heel up, be on the ball of the foot, and let's go in and out on the ball of the foot. Now one class I would recommend that I took was the Bradley method for natural childbirth, and probably the most amazing class ever. I will put a link to it. There's different teachers in different areas, but I loved my teacher, and she was actually at my son's birth and helped me through that because I had both of my children in the water, which my family thinks is weird, but I thought it was awesome. So you're inhaling out and exhaling in. I think with everything, it's best to be prepared. And as far as education on actually what's going to happen during the birth, the Bradley method will prepare you. Take an inhale as you press all the way out. Put the heel back down, turn the toes to the ceiling. We're going to bend the knee in, press and squeeze it back out. Going in and then squeezing the muscles towards the bone. Now I just have my hand on my hip. That's sometimes I usually will do that. Sometimes I'll put my hand right here on the shoulder block. So it's really personal preference. Hand on the hip is a good visual to make sure that you're not rolling your hip back or forward. Now I didn't mention if you're laying on your side and you feel like maybe the weight of the belly as it gets bigger, you might want to slide a pillow or a prop underneath it so you feel comfortable. You definitely don't want to feel like you're straining or anything's pulling in any of the positions that we're in. So that's where propping things up can make things more comfortable. And you definitely want to be comfortable when you're working out. Do one more. Come halfway in and give me little pulses. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Go all the way out and bring it back in. Bend your knees in. You're going to make your way up to change your weight. So we're just going to take it down to that blue spring again. So I'm on 1 medium. I'm going to take the 2 red springs off. So I've got 1 medium spring. I'm going to lay right back down. This time I'm going to stack my knees one on top of the other, grab the front strap, bring it right on in front of you at shoulder height. Now first off, take that shoulder and slide it back. So you're, instead of the shoulder being in front of you, you want to draw the shoulder back and slide the armpit down to the waist. So my lats are already on fire and engaged. Then from there, I pull the arm straight down over the hip and right back in front of me. Big exhale as you pull and inhale. If you want it a little more challenging, you can always add the top leg extended under the foot bar. Good. If over time that gets too challenging, again, listen to your body. One thing that when you're practicing this during your pregnancy is you'll notice that your body changes overnight. And maybe what you did one day isn't necessarily what you should be doing the next day. And the key is to honor where you are and to not overdo it. The next time the hand is down to the hips, stay there. We're going to go into a tricep. Bend your arm, push and press it out. Now, having said that, you could even adjust the weight if certain times it just feels like you're too fatigued, it's just too much. Again, listen to your body, do what feels good. Don't go past your edge. Now keep the arms straight. We're going to bring it up to shoulder height, down in front of you, and then press it back to the hips. So you're going up till it's right in front of the shoulder, down to shoulder height, and then pull it right back to your hip. Nice strong breathing. 2 more. Last one here. Let's reverse the direction, so go forward, come up to the ceiling and pull back down. Forward, up to the ceiling and pull down. Two more. Last one. Good. Now take the top leg, put the top leg into that same strap, and we're going to push that leg all the way to the foot bar. Keep that leg long. Notice how you're trying to take this right hip and press it to the foot bar versus just letting your hip hang towards you. So you want to lengthen that whole right side of your body. Keep that length and then kick the leg forward. Squeeze your bottom and kick it back. It must be on hand on the hip day because I've got my hand there again. Sometimes I like to do that, just helps me with my alignment. Most of the time I have my hand on the shoulder block. Good, you're going forward just until you're about in line with that bottom knee. And then when you're going back, it's like you're trying to stand on the foot bar and maybe a little bit more extended. Just make sure that strap doesn't run your nose into your nose. Good. 2 more here. We'll do 1 more press back and then turn the toes to the ceiling, bend your knee to the ceiling, push the leg out and towards the foot bar in that external rotation. Continuing to engage and release through those pelvic floor muscles. One more here. Now keep the leg straight. You're going to kick it up to the ceiling, forward, and then back to the foot bar. Kicking up. And this is where one of those exercises that you'll need to be careful that you're not overstretching and going in kind of hypermobility or in too big of a range of motion. You want to be able to control the motion through the circle. Good, we'll do that 1 more time in that direction, and then we're going to switch the direction of the circle. So we'll go forward first, straight up to the ceiling, and then pull right down towards the foot bar. Like to inhale when you go up, and exhale as you pull down. Again, move at a pace that feels comfortable. You want to get those deep, strong inhales. Big, strong exhales. Good, and then come all the way in. Take that strap off the foot. We're going to come up and change positions. So let's come into a mermaid. We're going to still be facing the same way. So you'll have your left shin against the shoulder block, your right leg in front of you. Pick up that same strap. Put it in your left hand, and then we're going to interlace the fingers at the sternum. Sitting tall on the inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, back to the left. Big exhale, twist. Inhale, back. Just as the breathing is so critical and important in Pilates, the breathing is critical and important during your pregnancy, specifically during your labor. That was one of the things I really enjoyed about the Bradley class. We spent a lot of time practicing on breathing, how to stay calm, how to stay relaxed in a stressful situation. So all about keeping your mind focused, your breath relaxed and steady. Do 1 more. Good, now take your right hand down, your left arm's just gonna punch across your body and then bring it right back. So I'm adding a little twist and then I'm coming right back to parallel. So my shoulders rotate and then they go back, right back to square. Good. 3 more to go. And 2. And last one. Good. Now take the strap in the right hand. We're going to draw the sword up and punch, and back and down. Another great exercise to build up strength in your back and improve our posture. Good. Sitting up really tall. Big exhales as you pull. Inhales as you release. Good. Let's go 2 more with that. Draw the sword, and then we'll go into a nice mermaid stretch. Good. After your second one, let's put the strap away. Right hand on the foot bar, left arm out to the tower. Go ahead and take a big exhale and lean yourself towards the foot bar. And you might want to just open the chest, taking a little stretch, looking upward. Or it might feel good to close the stretch, looking downward. Maybe do that a few times, looking up and rotating open, and then looking down and rotating closed. 1 more time. And 1 more time closed. Come back up to neutral, roll yourself back up, bring the carriage home, and take a counter stretch to the other side. Now I like to push my elbow into the back block, push my hips over to the right, reach my right arm over to the left. Good. And then we'll come all the way up. Okay, we're going to turn to face the foot bar. Your left foot's going to go to the floor. Now my reformer's high, so I have a little block here that I like to stand on. And we're going to switch the weight. So I've got 1 red, which is a heavy, and 1 blue, which is a medium. So I'm on 1 red and blue. My hands are on the foot bar. I'm going to lift my right knee and hover it above the carriage. My left knee is bent. I'm going to start pushing out and in on the right leg. Inhale as you press. Exhale, resist in. Good. Back of the neck is long. You have really a straight line from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Your elbows are slightly bent, just so you're not locking. If you kind of let your elbows lock, it puts all the pressure in your neck. So if you can relax your elbows, that's going to take that work and pressure out of the neck. And I change my breath, but remember the breath is always a tool, not a rule. So as long as you're breathing, your body will kind of tell you what breath it needs to do. Now I'm going to have you come home, take off your blue, so you're at 1 red spring. Your hands are going to go to your hips, and we're going to work a little balance. So the right knee is still lifted. You're going to push the carriage back and forward with that right leg. Now, especially as you get farther along, this may seem crazy. You might feel like your balance is going to be changing on a daily basis. And if you don't practice on a regular basis and you come back a week or 2 weeks later, things are completely different. So if you need to hold on, please feel free to do that. I don't want you to risk falling over. So you've got to do what you feel comfortable with. And if you're practicing a lot and you feel comfortable, hands can be on the hip. And if you don't feel comfortable, hands are on the foot bar. 2 more here. And 1 more. Good. Now let's put the knee down, hands down if they're not already, and then push into your stretch. Good. So I'm still trying to do that little tuck of my tailbone to pull my abs in. And then we'll come all the way in. Come on your hands and knees and add a blue spring. So you have 1 red, 1 blue. That's 1 heavy, 1 medium. Again, we're not going to go any weight on our belly, so we could do this laying down on a box, but we're going to do it kneeling. So you're going to lower your chest right over your foot bar. You've got your knees in line with your hips. You're in a tabletop position. As you exhale, you're going to push with your shoulders and then pull right back in. So it's an overhead press and right back in. Now, if you feel unstable in this position, you can skip it, but you should feel okay. If you're feeling too much pressure, if your belly is kind of pushing you down, try to do a tilt of your tailbone to really lengthen your low back. That tilt of the tailbone and tuck of the tailbone can help you get rid of any pain you might be feeling in your back. Do that 2 more times, and we'll do 1 more. Now we're going to take it to some single arms. So take your red off, stay with your blue. Your right hand's going to go down to the carriage to support you, and your left arm will be doing the pressing. Now, if you want it a little bit more advanced, the right hand can move to the small of your back. So that would be another option. If that doesn't give you enough support, definitely put the right hand back down. Do that 2 more times. And last time. Good, let's come in and switch. So right hand on the foot bar, left hand on the carriage, pushing out with the right and back in. So my elbow's slightly lower than my shoulder, keeping the work out of my neck. I'm looking really right down to the springs. That's going to keep my head in alignment with my shoulders and neck. So I've got the back of my neck long. Good. 2 more to go with this arm. And then last one. Good. And then come all the way home. And we're going to do everything on the other side. So I want you to have the block, which you should already have there. You're going to put a red spring on and another red. So I want you to have 2 red springs on. Take your blue off. So we have 2 red springs. We're going to lay onto that right side now, stacking your shoulders and hips. And I like to see, you can see now I'm kind of at the back edge of my carriage. And I'm going to put my top foot on the foot bar. And I'm going to start pushing out with that top leg. Remember, options for the bottom leg are to keep it bent. That's going to be your most stable position. If you want a little harder, you can straighten that leg out. One more, and then take it all the way out. Lift your heel high, and let's go out and in on the ball of the foot. So I've got my 5 toes rooting into the foot bar. My heel is lifted. If you're starting to get tired, you can always bend that bottom leg back in. 2 more here. Take it all the way out, put the heel back down, turn the toes to the ceiling. We're going to bend the knee to the ceiling. Squeeze your bottom and push the leg out. And there I go, reversing my breath. I must really just need to exhale when I push today. So breathe however it works for you. Good, this will be your last one. And then we'll come home. You can bend your knees and we'll come up using your arms to help you. Let's switch it to a blue spring. So take both of the red springs off. And you've got 1 blue spring on. Back laying on our side. Hip stack, shoulder stack. My top arm's going to grab the strap. So if you can see from here, I'm going to pull my shoulder forward. That's not where I want you to be. Draw your shoulder back right here in the lat. That's going to be kicked on, and then you'll pull your arm back. So you've got your shoulder kind of sliding back in position, and then you'll move from your arm, keeping your shoulder still. Now you can take your top leg if you would like more intensity. Send it right out and under the foot bar. Next time the arm is to the hip, we'll stay there and go into a tricep bend and press. Three more. Next time the arm is straight, you're going to reach it up to the ceiling to shoulder, right in line with the shoulder. Bring it forward, pull it right back. So notice the carriage moves when you go up. It stays still when you go forward. It moves when you go to the hip. Up and back. My top leg is getting tired, so I'm just going to set it right down on top of my bottom. Always focus on your form. When you get back to the front, let's reverse the direction. So go forward, the carriage moves. Arm goes up as the carriage stays still, and now you pull the hand back to the hip. So you go up to the ceiling, down to the hip, and right back in front of you. Up to the ceiling, down to the hip, and right back in front of you. Using your breath, 3 more. After this last one, we're going to put the strap on the top foot. Take that top foot and send it right out to the foot bar like you're trying to stand on the foot bar. Pendulum kicks. You're going to kick the leg forward to hip height and then squeeze the bottom and kick it back. Big forward kick, squeeze and kick it back. Remember, your inhales are nice and deep through the nose, big deep exhales through the mouth. 2 more to go. When the leg is back to the foot bar the next time, turn the toes to the ceiling, bend the knee to the ceiling, and then push and press the leg away. Bend the knee towards you, and then push and press away. Again, work at a range of motion that feels good. Be sure not to overdo it. I think with the overstretching, the biggest risk, is when your feet in straps, trying to overdo it. So just work at a range of motion that feels good, not too much. The next time the leg is straight, we're going to lift it up to the ceiling, bring it forward, and then pull it right back down to the foot bar. Circling up, forward, and pulling back. Good. 2 more, and then we'll switch the direction. Really great exercise for the hips, for hip mobility, hip flexibility. Now let's go ahead and reverse. Go forward, up to the ceiling, and then pull right back down to the foot bar. Forward, up to the ceiling, and pull right back down. Last 2. And 1 more. Awesome job. Okay, we'll take our time to get the strap off the foot, bring the carriage home, and then we'll have a seat. So again, apologize, I'm facing away from you, but you're gonna sit in a mermaid position. So your right shin is against the shoulder block. Your left leg is crossed in front. Grab that front strap with your right hand, interlace your fingers right at your sternum. Lengthen the crown of the head to the ceiling. Big inhale to get ready. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, rotate right back to the right. Remember, you're only doing things that feel comfortable If this rotation and twist is too deep, just make it smaller. Every exhale, you're pulling up on the pelvic floor, rotating through that rib cage. 2 more. And last one. Left arm is going to press across the body, or excuse me, right arm, and bring it back. So I'm doing a little chest press across. I'm doing that rotation from my waist, and I'm rotating back. Last 2, notice I'm lifting that right hip as I rotate. And then we'll do the draw the sword. So your left arm grabs the strap, you're going to draw the sword out and punch, and bring it back and down. Trying to keep my shoulders square, my hips square, and not using momentum to move the arm. So I'm moving through that thick molasses. Nice controlled motion. 2 more to go. And last one here. Good. You can put the strap away. We'll go into that mermaid stretch. So you're going to push the carriage all the way out, dropping your right shoulder from your ear, reaching through the right fingers, your left shoulder from your ear. And then you're going to look up, rotate your torso slightly, and then look down and rotate down slightly. Again, maybe not a big rotation, whatever works for you today. Rotating up and rotating down. One more time, rotating up, rotating down. Come to the center, come all the way home. Take your right hand to the shoulder block, right elbow maybe can go to the shoulder block, and you're going to lean all the way to the tower. All right, let's stack up. We are going to 1 red spring, 1 blue spring. Remember, I have that block because my reformer is about 4 inches higher than a standard. I've got the 18-inch reformer, so I always have to stand on a block to keep my hips level. So I've got my right foot on the floor or a block, your left foot up against the shoulder block. Now you can see that my left knee is lifted, my spine is long, I'm in a neutral pelvis. Push the left leg back and bring it back in. I was looking a little too high, so kind of look down towards the floor so I'm not tweaking my neck. Good, getting that full extension out, resisting the springs back in. That's what I love about the Pilates machine, the reformer. With the spring rate, you're working in both directions. I'm opening the springs, I'm resisting them closed. Opening the springs, resisting them closed. One more here. Come home and take your blue spring off. So you have 1 red spring. This is where we're going to work balance. If you're able to do so, put the hands on the hips. If that does not feel comfortable, hands on the foot bar. You're going to do the exact same motion we just did, pushing out, pulling back in. Balance is super important, especially during pregnancy. Your center of balance is shifting day to day. So you've got to constantly be recreating your center of gravity and relearning how to balance on a daily basis with your new body. Because every day is a new body. I guess that's pretty much for most of life, though, even for the stage I'm in. Good. Let's go 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Awesome job. Set your knee down, take your hands to the foot bar, and press into the stretch. The next exercise that we're going to do is actually what the Bradley method. We were supposed to do this exercise 50 times a day. This was one of the most important exercises, and it's very interesting because it's pretty much a Pilates exercise, and really to help loosen the pelvis, strengthen the pelvis, and prepare yourself for childbirth. So we're going to do that now. So come all the way in. And you've probably seen it because it's just a Pilates exercise. So we're going to take the foot bar down. I'm going to move it to a blue spring, take the red spring off. I'm in a tabletop position. My wrists are in line with my shoulders. My knees are in line with my hips. I'm in a neutral pelvis. We're going to go into what's called cat and cow. So you've probably seen it. So you're going to inhale. You're going to look up, open the heart, let the belly just release. And then as you exhale, you're going to round your spine, look down, press your low back towards the ceiling. And we'll just keep doing that. Inhale as you look up, and exhale as you look down. So again, this, in the mind of the Bradley method, was the most important exercise that you could be doing. And I can say that I did it every day. I think we did about 50. I'll have to look back to see the exact number. Nothing too quick, just nice and slow and steady. And just like you would do in your Pilates practice, just working on mobility through the pelvis. Seeing how far forward you can go into a posterior tilt, and then moving back into an anterior tilt. Or actually I reverse those. That's anterior, and this is posterior. Anterior being forward, and posterior being back. Two more. Again, we did a lot more, but I won't make you do 50. And then one more. And then come back to neutral. Now, staying in a neutral pelvis, don't let the pelvis go forward or back. You're going to let your knees go out. And you may only go an inch or so. This is a lot of abdominals. And then you'll pull it back in. So especially as your stomach gets bigger, your belly gets bigger, not your stomach, you're going to feel maybe this is a little too much pressure. So if you feel that way, tuck your tailbone, go into that tilt, and just go a little bit smaller range of motion. It is still capable or possible to work the abdominals when you're pregnant. You just got to work them a little differently. Good. This is going to be a little more advanced, this next exercise. So if you want to stick with what we were doing, you can. If you want to move on, the legs will go back and you'll hold them, and you'll move from the shoulders. So you'll push the shoulders back and you'll pull the shoulders forward in line with the wrist. So the shoulders go back behind the wrist, and then the shoulders come forward in front of the wrist. And shoulders go back and forward. Two more here. And last one. Good. Let's come all the way home. Very carefully step off to the side. We're going to walk around to the foot bar side of the machine. Let's put the foot bar back up to our mid position. Bring your feet hip distance apart. You're going to push back into your heels. Drop your hips down and let gravity take over. Let your head, your neck, your shoulders relax. Just giving yourself a little stretch. Pulling yourself back from the foot bar. And then we'll go ahead and roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time, coming all the way up. Bring your feet a little wider this time and turn out the toes. We're going to push back again. Bend the knees and drop into a little bigger squat. And you may even be able to squat farther down, deep plie bend at the knees, and then back up. So again, just working a range of motion that feels comfortable for you. The other big thing beyond cat and cow position in the Bradley method was deep squatting. So deep squatting was a really important exercise that we focused on to prepare for childbirth. So big squats at your range of motion and then back up. And I love the squatting here because I just feel a lot of length and release in my back. Good. You can even take it down and hold the squat at the bottom if that feels good. And you can even let go and take your hands to prayer. You might want to stay here for a few breaths, only if it feels comfortable. And then when we're ready to come up, we're going to come halfway up, bring your feet back to hips distance apart, and let your hands release to the floor. Now, hips distance apart might not feel comfortable once you're kind of farther along in the pregnancy. You might need to have the feet a little wider apart just to make room for your baby. So take your feet at whatever distance apart feels best for you. Soft bend in the knee. You can shake the head side to side, forward and back. Just completely let the head, neck, and shoulders relax. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to roll ourselves up. I'm going to bring my feet back to hips distance apart because that feels better for me. And I'm going to slowly stack my spine one on top of the other, coming all the way up, doing a few shoulder rolls at the top. And then you guys are done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the class. If you've got any comments, let me know. Otherwise, I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.